Welcome to Man Among Men. I am Tony Leon, your host. I want to thank you for tuning in with me. We really do appreciate it. And today we're going to talk about 5 things that you need to be aware of when you find that you are the oldest guy in the room. The channel is called Man Among Men, and we deal with things that pertain to us as men. We're putting together a man's manual of how men should be walking, how men should be conducting themselves, and just how we as men do things. If what we're talking about resonates with you, then I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like the video, and then share the video with other men that you know who may be interested in the same thing. And talking about a man among men, I want to say what's up to one of our viewers, Mr. Daniel Rivers. I want to say, brother, you are a man among men, and there are very few like you. Daniel, my man, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for tuning in. The first thing that's going to take place when you find that you are the oldest guy in the room, everybody in that room is going to figure you are the go-to guy. When you find out that you are the oldest guy in the room, or when you look around the table and you see a lot of young guys and you got that gray hair, man, what you're going to notice is everybody's just going to assume that you are the go-to guy. And everybody is going to start to come to you and ask you what they should be doing. Which way should I be going? On this job, man, what should I be doing? Now, let me tell you something. I was in the Marine Corps, and what would happen a lot of times is you would have a captain who would come on board, and that captain would want to give everybody instructions about, guys, here's what we're going to do, here's what we're going to do. Now, because of his rank and his position, he had authority. But on many of occasions, what I would see happen is I would see the troops would rely on a staff sergeant, a gunnery sergeant, and the troops would look at him and go to him and say, hey, man, is this something we should be doing? Not that the gunny outranked the captain, but the gunny was the guy in charge. A lot of times the gunny was the oldest guy in the group. He was a lot older than the captain many times. So everybody would look to him. So when you get to your position of authority, you're the oldest guy in the room, people are going to start looking to you and asking you, what should I do? And you got to be prepared for that, and you got to be ready for that, and you got to be able to juggle that thing. Because what's going to happen is when you have somebody who's in position of authority, then people come to you and ask you what they should be doing. The person who's in a position of authority, they may not like that. They may not take too kind to that. So you, as a man among men, you got to be able to balance that thing. And you got to create a balance where everybody can get along and where you can direct these young guys to what they need to be doing without upsetting management if you are not management. So when you become one of the oldest guys in the room, just remember, people are going to come to you and they're going to think you are the go-to guy. Now, on a side note, for everybody who's watching, I want to talk about my military service. From time to time, I talk about the fact that I was in the Marine Corps, and I'm proud of that fact. But here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want any of you guys out there to get it confused and think that I'm one of those warriors who done been into wartime situations, been in the combat zones, because I never been there. One of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to take any glory from any of those guys who've done those things. There are a lot of men and a lot of women who served in the Marine Corps and served in the armed forces, period, who gave their lives. Man, some of these guys and some of these men and these women have been into combat situations. They've been over to Afghan. They've been to those different places, and they have seen combat, and a lot of them giving their lives for this. And so I don't want to get it confused, and I don't want nobody out there thinking that I did something that I did not do. Now, for my time in the Marine Corps, for the most of the time, I was a paper pusher. Now, a lot of guys ain't proud of that, but man, it is what it is. I joined the Marine Corps, and I basically was a paper pusher. So when those guys, I was in the Marine Corps during the first Gulf War. I didn't serve, I didn't go over there. I stayed stateside. But one of the things that I did do, you help get this paperwork right, because the truth of the matter is, brothers, when you got a man overseas fighting a war, he still need to get paid. His wife still need to be able to go to sick bay. The kids still need to be able to go to the hospital. And so all those papers got to be taken care of and all that stuff got to be in order. There's nothing worse than a young man overseas fighting a war and his wife ain't getting paid. You don't want that. So for all the paper pushers out there like me who was in the military services, man, stand up and be proud. You ain't got to be a Rambo, man. Stand up and be proud and say, I push papers. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. And to all my brothers and sisters who gave their lives, for my brothers and sisters who's watching this and you done served in combat and you know what it is, brother, I salute you and I thank you for the job that you've done. Job well done, Marine. Job well done. Number two, when you're the oldest guy in the room, you're going to become the go-to guy for advice. A lot of the young guys and the young women going to see that gray hair on you. They're going to figure you've been around the block for a while. They figure you got some miles on you and you know a few things about a few things. And so some of the times they're going to come to you for life advice. They're going to come and ask you, man, what do you think? Where should I go from here? Where should I turn from here? Give me some advice on what to do. And as a man among men, you got to be ready to dish out some advice. And as a man among men, if you don't know, you need to be straight up with them and tell them, I don't know. Remember now, as a man among men, we practice integrity. We practice character. So we're not trying to impress anybody. We're trying to help everybody. So if a young guy comes to you and he wants some advice from you about what he should do, listen, man, give him the best advice that you can. But if you don't know, just say, hey, man, I don't know, but I can help guide you to the right person to get you the advice that you need. Number three, when you find that you are the oldest guy in the room, you will get the opportunity to teach. Yes, they're going to come to you and they're going to want you to teach them some things. Man, you just get the opportunity. And as life unveils in the place that you work or the place that you reside, you're going to get the opportunity to teach as the oldest guy in the room. So what happens is when that young guy comes to you and he says, you know, I was thinking that I want to divorce my wife, man, because she just ain't right and I ain't right for her and this thing ain't going good. So I'm going to go my own way. What do you think? See, this is when you get the opportunity to teach as a man among men and as the oldest brother in the room because you got some years behind you. You've seen some things. Now you get the opportunity to teach. So you can teach that young brother and you can tell him, listen here, man. Now, I know you may not like your wife right now and y'all may not be getting along too well right now, but son, I guarantee you, if you walk off and leave that woman, the state of Florida is going to make you regret it because you got those two kids. They're going to take everything you got and give it to her, and you're going to be living in a cardboard box. You're going to be sleeping under a bridge. Then they're going to dare you to quit your job. Son, you do not want to leave your wife. One of the fastest ways to financial ruin is divorce. Now, she ain't cheating on you and you ain't cheating on her. So therefore, you need to figure out how to make that thing work. You need to go back and talk to your wife. You need to listen to her. You need to figure out what's going on so that y'all can work that out. And another thing that I tell you, my friend, you want to divorce your wife? See, we're talking about teaching now. That's what we're doing. We're teaching. So you want to divorce your wife? Tell you what, you can leave your wife and you can go out and pick anyone you want. Go out and pick anyone under the rainbow. I don't care where she's from, what race, what nationality, you pick one. And I guarantee you, you're going to have the same issues because, son, picking another woman don't get rid of the issues that you're going to have with a woman. The issues going to stay the same, son. Those issues ain't going nowhere. So you might as well learn how to work this thing out with the woman that you have and stop talking about leaving your woman because you're going to be in financial ruins if you leave her. See, when you're the oldest guy in the room, you get the opportunity to teach. You get the opportunity to spread a little bit of your wisdom on the younger generation. Now, whether he divorced his wife or not is up to him. That's completely up to him. You do what you got to do. But what I'm saying to you, as a man among men and as the oldest guy in the room, you need to be able to give him some foresight in what's getting ready to happen. So when you're the oldest guy in the room, you get the opportunity to teach. Number four, when you're the oldest guy in the room, there's always an expectation that you, as the oldest guy in the room, will always be composed. Man, when everybody is falling apart in the office and people are fighting and carrying on in the office, and there's this office split and they talking about this group and this group talking about this, and they're getting combative and fighting with each other. As the oldest guy in the room, and as a man among men, you are expected to be composed. What that means is you don't get caught up in none of that. What that means is you leave all that alone. What that means is you just hold your ground and you don't get on this side, you don't get on that side. You leave that nonsense alone. Why? Because you're above that. You got wisdom now, man. You done been down that road before and you know where it leads. It's a dead end. It leads to nowhere. So as a man among men, as the oldest guy in the room, we don't get caught up in that. You're always composed. I don't care what's happening, because what happens is, and this goes back to our last point, it gives you the opportunity to teach. Because younger guys gonna come to you and say, well, listen, man, when everybody was going on crazy in this office, I noticed that you was just composed, man. You don't get rattled by none of this stuff. You don't get all shook up. And then you can explain to them, wisdom has taught me that what's going to be is going to be. So therefore, if they're laying people off, me crying and screaming and yelling and falling down and blowing snot bubbles and rolling around on the floor and wanting to fight with people, that don't change the fact that they laying people off. That's not going to prevent anything. So why get caught up in that? Man, you sit at your desk, you stay composed, say it's going to be what it's going to be, and you let whatever happens, the chip fall where they may. Now, when they walk up to you and they hand you the pink slip, say, hey, man, we have no need for your services anymore. All right, all good. Then if you want, you can cry if you want. I don't care what you do. But at that point in time, now we can look forward to what we do next. But we're not going to fall apart when nothing has taken place. See, we're not going to bring troubles from tomorrow and transport them into today and start worrying about something that may take place tomorrow that probably will never take place. Then we're going to mess up our entire day today. Now, we're going to enjoy this day right here for what it is. So whenever you're the oldest guy in the room, whenever you are a man among men and you're the oldest guy in the room, there's an expectation that you, my friend, will remain composed no matter what. Number 5, the power of nonverbal cues. As the oldest guy in the room, you gotta understand the power of nonverbal cues. You gotta be able to read nonverbal cues. There's an old proverb that says that even a fool, when he remains silent, is considered a wise man. See, you could take a fool, man, and if he don't say nothing and he just sit there and look all debonair at the desk, got his suit on, and he ain't saying nothing to nobody, people will consider him to be a wise man, even though he isn't. The power of nonverbal cues. When you become the oldest guy in the room and you're a man among men, you understand the power of nonverbal cues. See, you understand that sometimes you can just look at somebody the right way and you can set them straight. You don't always have to yell and scream at somebody. Sometimes you can listen to somebody and just walk away. You don't have to get into that. You understand? And then you can let them know some things that way. See, you got to understand the power of non-verbal cues. See, you're going to be invited to a lot of arguments, but that don't mean you have to show up for all of them. You don't, man. You can ignore a lot of that stuff. Non-verbal cues. See, when you take a look at how somebody's conducting themselves, you look at their demeanor, you look at how they sit, you look at how they're paying attention. You just look at the way they're going, and you look around the table and you see how they carry themselves. The power of nonverbal cues can tell you a whole lot. If you are a leader, or if you're up before the people, if you're speaking to your organization or speaking to your group, get accustomed to scanning the room. Look at how everybody's positioning themselves. And you can tell a lot by their nonverbal cues where they're at. You can tell if they're paying attention. You can tell if they're ready to go. You can tell if they're bored. You can tell if they're excited. all by the power of nonverbal cues. If you own a company, listen to me, you can look at a man's demeanor and tell if this is going to be his last day or not. You can look at how he's responding. You could just watch the way he walks around your office, and you can tell, I can tell by the way that brother is walking. He gonna quit. Yeah, he won't be with us long. Look at him. I can look at him and tell today is his last day. And if you understand the power of nonverbal cues, then you can cut a lot of stuff off. You can head a lot of stuff in different ways. You can intercede on a lot of things if you understand the power of nonverbal cues, because you can take a look at somebody, look at what their body language is telling you, then you can go and talk to them about those things before they even get a chance to make up their mind about what they want to do. And that's the power of being the oldest guy in the room, and that's the power of understanding nonverbal cues. So when you're the oldest guy in the room, you have got to understand and pick up on non-verbal cues. Matter of fact, it's expected that you will do that. So there you have it. 5 things that you need to know about being the oldest guy in the room. Now, go down to the comment section and let me know about some of the things that you have noticed about being the oldest guy in the room, and tell me some of the things that, some of the things that has happened in your life, and then we'll talk about some of those things in future videos. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for taking this ride with me, man. And we're going to continue to put this man's manual together and see what we can come up with for our sons and for our grandsons. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, like we always say after every episode, hey, man, look at here. Look at me. Look at me. Come on now. Say it with me. I am a man among men, and there are very few like me. Now, my brother, you go and you live that out.